Hi everyone. Uh, so today in this video I'll be trying to solve the section C part of question paper May June 2018. The subject is quantitative methods for business 2. Uh, in this video I'll not be solving the problem completely. I'm trying to make an experiment in such a way I'll be giving a hints or tricks to solve the problem. The student by looking at this video he can solve the problem by himself or practice the problem by himself. So in this section C, there will be 5 questions, out of which a student need to answer 3 questions for the examination point of view. Each question carries 14 marks. But I'll be solving all the 5 questions. So we'll go with the first question. First question is calculate quartile deviation and its coefficient from the following data. So the data is given size, the class interval from 0 to 10, the frequency, it means that number of students or number of employees. It is frequency means numbers. So 0 to 10 of the size, there are 8. Let us assume 0 to 10 marks. 0 to 10 marks scored by 8 students. That is frequency is number of students is 8 students. 10 to 20 marks is scored by 15 students. So 20 to 30 marks is scored by 23 students, and finally 60 to 70 marks are scored by 13 students. So here in this question, if we take marks as class interval and frequency number of students, then they have asked to find out the quartile deviation and its coefficient from the following data. So we'll go to the solution part. So the solution part, if you can check the table, the class interval and frequency which is being taken from the question table, one more column is being included in the table, that is cumulative frequency column. So let me explain how to calculate this cumulative frequency part. So frequency, the first value is 8, 15, 23, 32, 28, 61 and 13. The total of all the values is n, that is 180. The total of frequency values is 180. That is the first step. The second step is to find the cumulative frequency. First take the value of the first value frequency 8, write it the same. 8 plus 15 is 23. So what is that cumulative frequency? Is the addition of the successive frequency values in the frequency column. You will get cumulative frequency. So 23 plus 23, it is 46. 46 plus 32 is 78. 78 plus 28 is 106. 106 plus 61 is 167. 167 plus 13 is 180. So the last value of cumulative frequency will be always equal to n. So this will be both are equal. The next step is, in order to find the quartile 1. So what is that quartile 1? So in order to find the quartile deviation, we need to find two quartiles, that is third quartile and first quartile. So the difference between them and the average, we call it as quartile deviation. So what is that quartile 1? In order to find that quartile 1, first we need to find quartile class. In order to get that quartile class, divide n by 4. N by 4. N is 180 divided by 4, you will get 45. After getting this 45 value, check this value in the cumulative frequency. Any value which is nearest and greater than 45 will be the number representing median class. Sorry, not median class, quartile class, quartile 1 class. 45. 8 and 23, which is less than 45. 46 is the nearest value and greater than 45. It might be greater than or equal to 45. That is why it has been already highlighted in the red color. That will be your median class. So this median class values are used in the formula of Q1 and answer will be calculated. So applying the values in the Q1 formula. What is this L? L is the lower limit of the class or the size, the lower limit of class interval, that is 20. L will be 20 plus H divided by F. H is the width of class interval. The width of class interval is 20 to 30. The width is 10. The width or the difference between the 20 and 30 is 10. H is done. Frequency is the frequency value of the quartile class is 23. So the frequency value will be 23. N by 4 already calculated, it is 45. Apply that 45 value. The last value is cumulative frequency. This value will be the preceding value of quartile class in the cumulative frequency column, that is 23. So please do remember, CF is the preceding value of quartile class in the cumulative frequency column, that is 23. So apply these values and you will get the answer as 29.56. As I already discussed before starting this video, I told you I will not be solving this problem completely. I'll be giving hint on these problems or the steps to solve the problem. Student can sit and practice how you got this 29.56. Just practice and cross check with the answer whether you are getting 29.56 or not. Similarly, you have to calculate Q3. Q3 is 3n by 4, third quartile. 3 times of 180 divided by 4 is 135. After getting 135, check in the cumulative frequency column any number which is greater than or equal to, and the nearest to 135 is 167. So that is why the yellow colored is your Q3 class. Q3 class. So from this Q3 class, we will be taking values and applying in the formula to get the answer of 54.7. So once again, I'll repeat, L is 50 here, H is 10, frequency is 61, 3n by 4 is 135, and CF is the preceding, that is 106. Apply this value, simplify this part first and add the complete value with L, you will get 54.7. So just try and check with the answer whether it's right or wrong. After finding these two values, quartile deviation is simple. Quartile deviation is equals to Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. So Q3 value minus Q1 divided by 2, if you do, you will get this answer. Cross check with yourself. Coefficient of QD is Q3 minus Q1 divided by Q3 plus Q1. Again, answer is given. So please cross check by solving this problem by yourself. I hope you understood with this. Okay, now let us discuss with the second question. Calculate Karl Pearson's coefficient of correlation between sales and advertising. So before going to the problem, let me give small introduction on what do you mean by correlation. Correlation is the study of finding the degree of relationship between two variables. Finding the degree of relationship between two variables. Here the two variables are given in the questions are sales and advertisements. So sales in lakhs, advertising in lakhs they have given. Let me just give an explanation on advertising in lakhs. 9 lakh rupees they have spent for advertisement. What is the sales? 5 lakh rupees. So the next value is 11 lakh rupees is the advertisement amount spent. Sales is 7 lakh rupees. 14, 11, 14, 14, 17, 14. If you observe this relationship carefully, there is a positive relationship exists between these two values. As we increase the value or the amount in the advertisement, the sales amount also increases. But the correlation tries to explain the degree of relationship. So there is a positive relationship exists between these two, but how much is being explained with the help of Karl Pearson coefficient of correlation between sales and advertising. Okay, we'll go with the question now. The sales figures are given and advertisement figures are given. So sales figure and advertisement figures are written in the vertical. Sales figure and advertisement figure are written in the vertical columns. Sales is taken as X value. Frequency, sorry, this is not frequency. Advertising is taken as Y. X values, if you add all the X values, you will get summation X is 153. All the Y values, summation Y is 152. So once you get the 152, sorry, not 152, it is 162. After finding this, the total of all both X and Y, calculate the average of X and average of Y by applying formula X mean and Y mean. X mean and Y mean is total of all the values divided by number of values. Number of values given in the question is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So N here becomes 9. So 153 divided by 9, you will get 17. Similarly for Y, 162 divided by 9, you will get 18. After finding the average of both X and Y, calculate dx and dy, where it states dx is X minus X mean and dy is Y minus Y mean. Now, it means that each value of X should be subtracted with X mean value, that is 17. Each value of X, what is the first value here? 5 minus 17, you will get minus 12. 7 minus 17, you will get minus 10. Similarly, you will do it for all the rows. Similar step being followed in Y minus Y mean. The first value is 9 in Y, minus 18 is minus 9. 11 minus 18 is minus 7. Similarly, all the steps. Similarly, proceed with the next rows. After finding dx and dy, the next three columns has been extended. These are the three important columns required for the formula: dx square, dy square and dx into dy. Dx square, simple. 12 should be squared. All the dx values should be squared. 12 into 12, minus 12 into 12 is 144. Minus 10 into minus 10, it's 100. Minus into minus, it is plus. A student need to remember this, the mathematical rule. Minus into minus always becomes plus. 9 9s are 81. 7 7s are 49. Similarly, carry on the procedure for all the values of dx square and dy square. The last one is dx into dy. So 12 into 19 is 108. 12 is dx and 9 is dy. 12 into 9 is 108. Minus 12 into minus 9, minus into minus is plus 108. 10 into 7, again minus into minus plus. 10 into 7, 70. Follow the steps for all the rows. After finding this three columns values, just add the values of dx square, dy square and dx dy. You will get summation dx square, summation dx dy square, summation dx into dy. The values are given like this: 598 for dx square, summation dy square is 338, summation dx dy is 431. So once you get these three values, the simplified formula of R, Carl-Pearson coefficient of correlation, is represented by R, is given by summation dx into dy divided by square root of summation dx square into summation dy square. Here, this is a simplified formula, but the formula varies if you apply in a different procedure to solve the problem. So as a degree student, please do remember this formula and apply the same basic steps. Don't get confused with other types of formulas and other procedures. So R equals, the answer I have already written, 0.95. That is again positive, plus 0.95. You may get a negative value also. Positive means there is a relationship between sales and advertisement which exists positive in nature. That is why the answer you are getting is positive. In case if you get an answer of negative, there will be a negative relationship between the two variables. That negative relationship between the two variables means a variable x increases, it leads to decrease in the variable y. So that is a negative relationship, but here the increase in one variable leads to increase in the other variable. That is why that's a positive relationship. 0.95 means very high degree of positive relationship. High degree of positive relationship means a close relationship exists in a positive way between advertisement and sales. And dear students, please do remember R, the maximum value it can take is either plus 1 or minus 1. If you get an answer more than 1, means your answer is wrong and you have done a step somewhere wrong. So you have to recheck the problem and you have to solve the problem once again. And finally, your answer is 0.95. I request students to solve the problem and cross check whether this answer is correct or not. Okay, the third question of section C. The following are the results of capital employed and profit earned by a firm in 10 successive years are given in the table. Capital employed in thousands. Its mean is 55 and standard deviation is 28.7. So average of the capital employed amount is 55 in thousands, 55 thousands, 28.7 into thousands. So thousands in the bracket means it should be multiplied by thousands, for this 55 and 28.7. Profit earned is 13 and 8.5. Coefficient of correlation is given by 0.96. So coefficient of correlation is given by 0.96. It means that in the previous problem I already did this one. Coefficient of correlation when they exist between two values is having 0.96 and positive. It means that there exists a high degree of positive relationship between two variables. But what is asked in the question is obtain two regression equation, estimate the amount of profit to be earned if capital employed is 50,000 and estimate the amount of capital to be employed, earn profit of rupees 20,000. Okay, I'll explain how to solve the problem and I'll explain this concept also. Solution part. If you check the solution part here, there are two things need to be calculated. One is regression coefficient and regression equation. Regression coefficient and regression equation. So let me give a small brief on what do you mean by regression. Regression is the study of relationship between two variables. One is independent variable, the other one is dependent variable. So one will be independent variable, other one will be the dependent variable. a variable which is dependent on other variable, we call that as dependent variable. An independent variable which is independent, which is not dependent on any other variable, we call it as independent variable. So regression coefficient is given by byx, and what is that? Byx is y on x. Y on x, it means y is dependent on x. So here y is dependent and x is independent variable. So there is one more regression coefficient. If you observe carefully, it is x on y. It means x is dependent on y variable. So you need to calculate two regression coefficients and two regression equation. The first one is by on x, where y is dependent on x. It is given by formula summation dx dy divided by summation dx square, or there's one more formula, r into standard deviation y divided by standard deviation x, where in this type of problem we will be using the second formula. Similarly, for x on y, this is bx on y, bx on y. Here it has been wrongly given as by on x. It is bx on y is r into summation standard deviation x divided by standard deviation y. So let us go back to the question part. Standard deviation is given for both x and y. So what is the standard deviation of x? Is 28.7. Standard deviation of y is 8.5. Standard deviation of x is 28.7 and standard deviation of y is 8.5, multiplied by thousands, because it is given in the question. It's thousands rupees in thousands, and coefficient of correlation is 0.96, which is represented by r. R is coefficient of correlation, which is 0.96. Finally you will get an answer of 0.28. Similarly, one more coefficient you need to find out here, b x on y, where applying the same values, r is 0.96, standard deviation x, this will be in the numerator, standard deviation y will be in the denominator. You will get a value. After finding two regression coefficient, the next step is to find regression equation. Two equations you will get. One is y on x and x on y, where y is dependent on x and x is dependent on y. So x mean is 55 and y mean is 13. Y minus y mean equals, the equation is y minus y mean equals by on x into x minus x mean. Y mean is 13,000, y minus 13,000. 13 is the given in the question, but it is 13,000 multiples of 1000. by on x is 0.28, what you calculated already, 0.28. Apply that value. X minus x mean is 55 into 1000 is 55,000. Simplify this. Y minus 0.28x minus 15,400 plus 13,000, y equals 0.2 or 0.28x minus 2,400. This is an equation, first equation. Similarly, when x is dependent on y, apply the equation x minus x mean is 55,000, x minus x mean is 55,000 equals bxy is the value you're going to calculate here, and y minus y mean value is 13,000. After simplifying, you will get an equation x equals bxy into y minus or plus or minus some value. You'll get here, after getting these two equations, we'll go back again. Estimate the amount of profit. What is amount of profit? Amount of profit is y. You have to find y when x is 50,000. That is capital earned, capital employed is x. So you have to find y when x is 50,000. So we have to apply in the first equation. I need to find y. Y is dependent on x. Y is dependent on x. What is asked in the question? Y to be found if x is 50,000. In the place of x, apply 50,000. You will get y equals 11,600. It means that when capital employed is 50,000, profit earned will be 11,600. So for any value of x, you can find profit earned. Similarly, now the next question is estimate the amount of capital employed. Amount of capital employed is x. To earn profit of rupees 20,000, y is given, y is 20,000. You need to find x. So in order to find x, x equals bxy, because x is dependent on y now. So y is independent. So in this case, x equals bxy value into what is the y value given here? 20,000. Apply 20,000 here, plus the plus or minus some value you will get here. After simplification, you will get x value. So this is an assignment for the student. I have not solved this problem completely, as I told earlier before starting this problems. Student need to solve this problem by themselves with the hints given or the explanation given in the video. I hope you understood with the question. So after getting the answer, please comment on the comment box. Okay, fourth question of section C state like this: calculate Fisher's ideal index number and also show that it satisfies both TRT and FRT. TRT is time reversal test and factor reversal test. So index numbers are those numbers which compares with current year's value and base year's value. So base year is a year where current year's price or quantity will be compared. For example, 2010 and 2008, if we take 2010 will be current year and 2008 will be base year. 2010 values are compared with the 2008 values to see the changes, or the increase in the price or the increase in the quantity can be compared. So that we call it as index number in general, but I have not given a formal definition of it. Just to make you understand, I have given a small hint on index number. So Fisher's ideal index number is a concept given by Fisher's, and this question is given when a table of commodities of wheat, rice, gram, pulses, ghee and sugar, and base year and current year. Base year is a year for comparison, year where we compare. So for example, if this current year is 2020, base year, it can be any year previous to this. It can be 2019, 18 or 17 or 2010 also. Any previous year for the comparison, we call it as current year. The current year can also be 2010. If the current year is 2010, base year must be before that. So that is base year and current year. Base year price value and quantity value is noted by price P naught and quantity Q naught. So current year's price and quantity represented by P1 and Q1. So this is given in the table. Price and quantities values are given. So let us go with the solution part. The solution part, the same table, question table is re-represented here. Commodity, base year and quantity and current years. In order to find the Fisher's idle index number, we need to get 4 columns, that is P naught Q naught, P naught Q1, P1 Q naught and P1 Q1. So this has to be calculated. What is this P naught Q naught is? Just multiply the P naught values with Q naught values of all the rows. So the first for wheat, let us take for wheat 12 into 20 is 240. P naught Q naught is done. Rice 16 into 22 is 352. Repeat the same for all the rows. P naught Q1. P naught is 12 into Q1 is 20, 240 again. 16 into 24, 384. Repeat the same again. P1 Q1. P1 is 14 for the wheat, first value. 14 into Q naught is 20, 280. Repeat the same procedure for P1 Q naught. P1 Q1, 14 into 20, 280. 18 into 24, 432. Same thing. So after calculating all the values, just add the values of each column. Summation P naught Q naught is, you will be getting a value of 1380. Summation P naught Q1 1728. Summation P1 Q naught 1778. Summation P1 Q1 1903. So this is the value what I got, but I have not shown you what are the values here you are going to get. But student need to check whether the values are correct or not by solving the complete answer. After getting these 4 values, Fisher's idle index number is given by a formula square root of summation P1 Q naught divided by summation P naught Q naught into summation P1 Q1 divided by summation P naught Q1. So this is the formula. Apply these values in the formula. Summation P1 Q0 is 1778 divided by 1380 into 1903 divided by 1728. After divide and multiply, just square root the value, you will get 1.190 into 100, that is 119.9 percentage. 119.9 percentage. So after getting this value, what do you mean by this? It means that, for example, in the current year 2010 is 119.9 rupees for a certain commodity on a certain quantity. The base year is, it might be the previous year or it might be any previous years. If I'm comparing 2010 with 2009, if current price is 119.9, the previous years or the base year's price is 100. So that is the variation from 100, it has increased to 119.9 percentage. So that is how, so basically it is 19.9 percentage increase in the price value of a certain commodity, So this is calculated with the help of Fisher's index. So after finding this Fisher's index number, there are 2 tests need to be done. One is time reversal test and the other one is factor reversal test. Time reversal test is given by a formula summation square root of P1 Q naught P1 Q1 summation P0 Q1. Okay. This is a big formula. Student need to remember this formula. I'll give a small hint how to remember this formula. Fisher's index is square root of summation P1 Q0 into summation P1 Q1 divided by summation P0 Q0 and into summation P0 Q1. If you remember this, just represent the same once again here. The same thing. If you check clearly, the same Fisher's index formula is once again repeated here. But the second part, there is a small change. Wherever zeros are there, 1 is there, is being changed to 0, 0 is being changed to 1. If you can observe summation P1 Q0, in the second part, it is summation P0 Q1. Here summation P0 Q0, in the second part summation P1 Q1. That is, just change 1 to 0, 0 to 1, and you can remember this formula easily. After writing this formula, wherever applicable, apply the formula and definitely you will get answer 1 and write it as hence proved. The next one is factor reversal test. The factor reversal test, the first part is same. Again, the first part is same. First part is same as the Fisher's index value, Fisher's index number. Second part, there is a small change will be there. That is, the diagonal values will remain. The diagonal values will get changed, that is from left to right, but the diagonal values from right to left gets changed. Right to left, P1 Q1, P1 Q1, P0 Q0, P0 Q0, both are same. But the diagonal value from left to right gets changed. P1 Q0 will be shifted to P0 Q1, P1 Q0 will be changed to P0 Q1, and P0 Q1 will be changed to P1 Q0. After understanding the formula, apply the value and keep this in fraction only. Don't solve this in decimal. So summation P1 Q1 divided by summation P0 Q0 will be your answer, and that is your factor reversal test. Last and final question of section C, fifth question. Draw less than O give curve and more than O give curve from the following data and also locate the median value and verify the actual calculation. The class interval is given and the frequency is given. So the same thing, class interval and frequency is already represented in the answer column, and as I discussed in the previous problem, cumulative frequency, I think in the first problem, cumulative frequency is the addition of the successive frequency value. Once again I'll repeat, 10 will be represented again same there. 10 plus 30 is 40, 40 plus 50 is 90, 90 plus 40 is 130, 130 plus 20 is 150, 150, n is 150. These two values will be always same. The total of frequency value is 150. In order to find median, the first step is to find n by 2. N by 2 is n is 150 divided by 2 is 75. After finding 75, just check any value which is nearer to or greater than, nearest value which is greater than 75 in the cumulative frequency column. So 10 no, 40 no, 90. 90 is the nearest value which is greater than 75. That is why it has been already highlighted in the red, which is called as median class. After finding the median class, these values are used in applying in the formula. Median equals L. L is the lower limit, that is 100, plus H is the width, 100 to 150, the difference is 50, that is H is 50. Frequency is the frequency value of that median class, it is 50. It is shown here how you are getting the value. N by 2 is 150 divided by 2 was 75 minus CF. CF is the preceding value of the median class in the cumulative frequency column, that is 40. you will get an answer of 135. After finding this answer, a student need to draw less than O give curve and more than O give curve to prove or to check the calculation. So how to draw this, I've directly given in the graph sheet, solved and represented here. So first you need to have a class interval column, frequency column, and less than class interval or less than cumulative frequency. Less than cumulative frequency is same as the cumulative frequency what you solved already. So the first value will be 10. 10 plus 30 is 40. 40 plus 50 is 90. 90 plus 40 is 130. 130 plus 20 is 150. Done. Now more than cumulative frequency, in order to find 150 you have to take first. Let me explain what is that more than cumulative frequency. More than means when you are reading that more than, you have to always check with the lower limit of class interval. More than 10, how many are there? So more than 10, there are total of 150 here. There are no students or no one who is less than 10. There are more than 10, all belongs to more than 10. All the people who are there in this problem belongs to more than 10. That is the reason why more than cumulative frequency, all 150, all the values will come. So more than 50. So more than 50 is 140. Why? Because 10 belongs to 10 to 50. 10 students are there who belongs to 10 to 50. The remaining students above 50 are 140 students out of 150. I hope you understood the concept. Let me give you how practically you will be solving here. Just write 150, the total value what is there, write the first value in the first row, 150. 150 minus the frequency, 150 minus 10 is 140. 140 minus 30 is 110. 110 minus 50 is 60. 60 minus 40 is 20. So you will get the more than cumulative frequency. So after finding this less than and more than, plot the graph, take x-axis as class interval and y-axis as cumulative frequency, both less than and more than. I've used scale. X is 1 centimeter equals 20 points and y as 1 centimeter equals to 10. And please do remember, when you're plotting the graph for less than cumulative frequency, you have to take the upper limit for consideration. Upper limit and less than frequency. Upper limit and less than frequency. The first point marked 50. For 50 it is 10. 50 in the x-axis, 50 in the x-axis and 10 in the y-axis. 100 in the x-axis and 40 for the second one, 100 and 40. 100 in the x-axis and 40 in the y-axis. 150 in the x-axis, 90 in the y-axis. 150 and 150. Where is the other point? 150 and 90. Similarly, 200, 130, 250 and 150, you will get other 2 points. Now more than cumulative frequency always need to be plotted with the help of lower limit value. Lower limit value, please do remember this. For 10 it's 150. 10 in the x-axis, 10 in the x-axis, y it's 150. Here you can check the point 150. For 50 it's 140. For 50 140. This is the second point. 100 100, 110. Where is the 100? 100, 110 is your y-axis. Similarly, 150 and 60, 220. 200 is here, 20, 220. So this, the curve which is moving upward, we call it as less than or give curve. The curve which is coming downwards, we call it as more than or give curve. The intersection point is this. Just drop a line and check what is that value. This is your median. If you check, if you are getting as 136, somewhere very near to your answer in the calculation, you are getting as 135. So might be a minor error in plotting the graph. So your answer is median is 135. I hope you understood with this concept, and I've made this video to make the students to practice as well. Some of the problems I've not done completely. Please sit and solve the problem and do well in your examinations. Thank you all. Please comment in the comment section. If you found any difficulty in understanding the problem, I may come out with a different alternative or solution to this. Please give your feedback on the video to improvise myself. All the best for your exams. Thank you once again.